But then I come across these upcycled ingredients, which I thought, well, this is really innovative and what's happening. And they're also reducing the food waste. So I thought that could be my angle because I'm really passionate about environment. I want really good skincare. And I also learned these ingredients, but then this whole new area is flourishing now that I understand the ingredients. I actually learned this through going to the shows, like trade shows, cosmetic shows about this. There's a huge push because what happens in the manufacturer side doesn't come to the consumer side that straight away, but all the manufacturers are pushing for this. And then I said, okay, this is an area I could go. It really fits with my brand. And then I started to go with it slowly, but yes.
And how long ago was that?
The whole upcycling started the next year.
Welcome to the next episode of the Beauty and the Brand podcast. My name is Aggie Burnett. I'm here with Tuna, who's the founder of Ziver Organiques. And Ziver Organiques, it has a focus on next generation sustainable skincare using high performance actives and upcycled ingredients. Tuna was actually a data analyst by day and a skincare founder by night up until recently when he quit his 9-to-5 and went all in on his skincare brand. He's also a member of our C2C accelerator currently. When he first started C2C, he was making about $1,000 a quarter selling his products on Etsy, struggling to make a little bit of more traction and clarity in his messaging. But he was very passionate about upcycled ingredients and sustainability, but that brand messaging wasn't fully landing. After diving into CBC, Tuna had refocused his niche and his messaging on the number one pain point of his customer while still making sustainability a core focus of his brand. And Tuna was able to grow 260% during the first cohort of C2C, which runs for 4 months, and he landed 70 new retailers during that same period. So we're definitely going to be diving into more about how he did it. And then we're also going to be workshopping with him today, hot seat style, as we would in C2C, on how he can optimize the retailers he's already partnered with and his wholesale process. So welcome, Tuna. So happy to have you here. And tell us a little bit more about you, your brand, how and why you got started with this business.
Thank you, Aggie. Thank you for this opportunity. Yes, I'm delighted to be here. And briefly, I started my business back in COVID time in August 2020. And the reason I started is I was not really happy with my career. Actually, I've been working in finance for over around 20 years, but I just couldn't progress to a level that I feel that I'm progressing my career. But also I was not happy with the sector anyway. So, and also I was always interested in skincare, but I just find it that I'm quite passionate around environment. And so I was looking at a lot of opportunities that what I can do around what I can contribute as well. And then when the COVID hit, I took this opportunity to start this. Initially, I started very basic. I actually did some private labeling, not private label, but white label products. So I wasn't actually developing my own products. But then when I hit into supply issues, I realized that with my given small budget and I don't have the massive budget to order 10,000 of products. So I thought to myself, how can I make this myself? And then journey started from there, learning how to make cosmetic products. Also, that also gave me opportunity to understand the industry a little bit, how products are made. And then I come across okay, I don't have a super cosmetic industry experience for years. I was feeling a little bit somebody coming into the sector from outsider. But what I've noticed that there's a lot of greenwashing. There was a lot of plastic still has used as a number one medium for the products. There are a lot of it's the natural movement started at the beginning, but I still feel people obviously want to have a really good skincare, but they don't really care what happens afterwards or what goes inside those products. So, for example, the lip products have chemicals in it. They use a lot of polybutane, which is derived from plastic industry. Yes, it gives a wonderful texture, but who cares? Sort of it, right?
Yeah.
So then I realized there's still people who care, but like me. But then I come across these upcycled ingredients, which I thought, look, this is really innovative and what's happening. And they're also reducing the food waste. So I thought that could be my angle because I'm really passionate about environment. I want really good skincare. And I also learned these ingredients, but then this whole new area is flourishing now that I understand the ingredients. I actually learned this through going to the shows, like trade shows, cosmetic shows about this. There's a huge like push because what happens like in the manufacturer side doesn't come to the consumer side that straight away, but all the manufacturers are pushing for this. And then I said, okay, this is an area I could go. It really fits with my brand. And then I started to go with it slowly, but yes.
And how long ago was that?
That started the whole upcycling started the next year. First, I was dabbling with just basic like white label. And it took me a year and a half. Then I started the research and I absolutely, did learning the cosmetic making side of it. While I was doing the cosmetic side, I started to doing YouTube. So people started to, like show DIY. Yeah. So I got around 4,000 followers, but they're mostly they know me for doing DIY cosmetics. It's also good I thought it was a practice for me too, because you are doing something new and you're showing your expertise. And I thought it would be a good area to become as an expert in some, but I wasn't talking about upcycling. So that's another benefit of C2C, that it shows you, look, you have a brand. This is good what you're doing, but you have to think like a brand owner. So how can you actually push your brand? So it's another thing that you taught me, like convert from DIY into like how can you while you have this good followers, you just make them a little bit like talk about benefits of skincare ingredients rather than showing them how to do DIY.
Yes. But that, I think it was a great start, right? Like it's a great way to start.
Yeah.
And one of the things that maybe you were doing this intentionally, maybe you weren't, but it's such a great strategy to build an audience first before you launch the product. So whether or not you were doing it intentionally, it was a really great strategy. And so we started working on sort of transitioning to, more around like product benefits, ingredient benefits versus DIY, as we were starting to think about, well, how can we use this channel to help leverage purchases of your product?
Exactly. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I'd love to put the focus a little bit more on wholesale. I mean, I know we've done a lot of work in so many different ways over the last few months, particularly around the messaging and the positioning, but the wholesale, as a result of that, the wholesale's really been a big area that things have taken off for you. Can you tell us a little bit more about that and what's been the process just tell us a little bit more about the wholesale side of your business.
So in the wholesale, I use a platform called Fair.com, which was really, I heard great things about it. I registered with Fair initially back in 2022, but then I didn't put a lot of effort into it. And then I saw a couple of people getting really good benefits out of it. Then I started to put a lot of effort into it using the messaging that I learned from C2C, putting the brand identity, and uploaded my products. So the thing with the wholesale, obviously, it does act a little bit like selling online through some third-party platform, but obviously because of wholesale, you have to make your prices half the price, because that's what they require, 50% less, because you're selling on wholesale. But then I price them in a way that I can still make money, a profit out of it. So initially, even though I didn't have too many products, I only initially had 7 products. This includes serums for face, lip products, and some candles. When I uploaded them with a good imagery, put all the details and everything, initially it took a slow start. Fair doesn't have a specific ads or anything you can do. You just a little bit wait. But I think once you have really good, convincing store, when you put all the branding elements in it with the good pictures, it's like designing a website, basically, really good converting pictures, good descriptions, what your brand is all about. Then I got a couple of orders initially. Then what happens the whole cycle began, I got a couple of good reviews. The interesting thing about fair.com, it really pushes, the algorithm pushes, if you do the really good customer service and you go to like a really good, you got 5-star reviews. So once the cycle started, so you got orders, you delivered them, people are happy, give you reviews, the whole cycle started, the algorithm started to push me, but also I also managed to get a couple of external people using this platform, because what this platform obviously trying to invite more retailers here, it rewards you more. So I managed to get a couple of external people I know, and not people, yeah, a couple of people and other retailers I know onto the platform. So that way, it also pushes me a lot in the algorithm.
Right.
And then
Great.
what happened after that? I get more reviews, more orders, more reviews, more orders. It started to I get and it was getting towards Christmas as well. Obviously, that's also impacted a little bit, but the whole thing suddenly skyrocketed. So within, I mean, I didn't have any sort of all orders, but suddenly I'm sitting here with like almost $8,000 of like orders within like the last 6 months, which is, you might say not much, but when you think about the wholesale orders, it's still too much for me, considering my brand is sort of sitting on small. I would love to. For me, it was a bit like mini explosion. Suddenly, I got like
Yes, yes, yes.
repeat
'Cause
orders. You know,
wholesale, when we started, it was like September. By the end of the year, you were at 25. And then by the time we spoke again, I think it was like,
it was 80. Now I have around I have 85 wholesale.
that's amazing.
Yeah, but
Amazing.
you might think this. I mean, we will talk in a little detail, but yes, that's what happened suddenly, because the platform start pushing me more, and they got people are also very happy because I provide them good customer service. But this is where we will talk about how we optimize them. Like, what can I do? Also, maybe like additional things that we can do. So
Yes. So when I heard, you had so many great orders coming through, my first thought was like, okay, how do we optimize each of these wholesale accounts, right? And number two, I was wondering about the sell through on the other side. So let's dive right in. So tell me a little bit, if you have this if you're able to pull this information up, you currently have an opening order?
I just fulfilled one yesterday. So, sorry. My opening order is actually within the I sell in the United Kingdom. It's £50, and $50, maybe more than that.
$50.
Yes,
Okay.
$50 opening order. But for overseas, I do 150. So for US or for Europe, I charge 150 minimum. But what I also do, Aggie, is that even though locally I put less amount, but my minimum order quantities are multiple. So like if you don't order one of that,
Of
just
course, yes. What is
So
the
I do
minimum?
like, so you need minimum 10 of each, basically. So if you don't order one candle, you minimum 10 of them.
Okay, so minimum is 10 of each.
Yes.
Okay, so how does that work in terms of, okay, so then typically what do you see as the best selling product, or what do you see, like, what does a typical order look like?
So the typical order, it really depends on the customers. Some customers just order. I also sell candles as like a side, not side, but it's like complementary to the brand. So some customers just order candles. Some customers just order fully cosmetic side of things. So for example, recently I received an order for. It looks like a demo order, because she ordered this retailer ordered like all the items available. So they ordered all the serums, all the lip masks, lip balms, lip scrubs, everything. But like she didn't touch anything on the candle side, so she just ordered all of those, all the serums, everything. And she ordered like three. Some of them are minimum, so some of them like serums are 5, candles are 10. So she ordered like, and then she ordered like some testers as well. So that's like, it really depends. Some customer maybe you have mixed, but it's very, what I see from the average orders, it really depends. Some of them are just, as I mentioned, they just go pure candles or just pure cosmetics,
Understood.
and
Okay.
some
So
and
one of the
some just goes pure lip products. Yeah.
okay. And so what is the average order?
Yeah, so average order is around 100 to 120 per customer, per retailer. Some of them are lower, some of them are higher prices. So it's around 100, let's say, 100 to 120.
And then what is the average reorder typically?
Average reorder, it's around 80. Average reorder is actually 150 because they like it and they order more. Yeah, so I have a customer, for example, you also asked me like the repeat. So I have a specific customer. She's I think as a restaurant, so she also only buys candles. She orders quite often, like every month. She orders like at least 20, 30 of them every month. So she's like a most repeat orders I got. And I got another beauty customer. She buys the serums all the time. She loves the serum. So she orders, even though she's not high, but she orders minimum 80, sometimes 100. Don't forget though, these values maybe seem low just because these are wholesale orders. So, and I don't sell them very expensively. So normally, for example, my serum, I sell around $20, but now I have to sell them around 10. So everything is like half the price. So that's why it may seem low, but they're not that low for me because they're buying in multiple quantities basically.
Okay. So yeah, I want to look at pricing too. Maybe that'll be like a separate call or but
Sure, yeah.
I definitely think that we need to look at pricing. But okay, so what I'm hearing is, for local, for you in the UK, you have a 50 pound minimum. For overseas, it's 150. You're seeing about an average PO of 100 to 120 pounds per retailer. Reorders around 150 pounds. And then do you know how many of the 85 doors total that you have right now? How many of those are repeat ordering? How many have like repeat ordered with you of those 85? You know?
Yeah, I would say around, actually, no, yes, I have it here. One second. So the repeat number of customers who did repeat orders with me. Yes, is that the question? Yeah, so I have 15 customers who are repeat orders all the time I would say in the last 3 months. So a lot, yeah, last 3 months.
Okay, so you have 15 divided by 85, so about 18% are reordering. And then do you know, like for your best wholesalers, like your best wholesale accounts, do you know the frequency of orders? Meaning, like, let's say there's, like your top 10 accounts or top 5 accounts, are they reordering every quarter? I know this one lady's reordering once a month. But on average, are you seeing reorders every other month, every 3 months? Like, what's the cadence of the reorders?
It's around 8 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks. I got reorders. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. Okay, this is good. This is good information. Okay, a few things that I'm thinking. Definitely the minimum, whether it be the minimum quantity and the minimum value, I would highly, highly recommend increasing that. I do think part of it will be looking at the pricing because I do make sure that the margins are where they need to be. And I am concerned that maybe they are not where they need to be at the prices that you currently have, because I know you're using like very high quality, bioactive ingredients. So you want to look at that. But typically, an opening order, typically you'll see something more along the lines of like 300 or 600. So you can absolutely, like, if you're seeing that an average opening order is 100 to 120 per retailer, then that's a really good marker to say, okay, maybe we set our minimum order to be just a little bit higher than that. So maybe it's, 140 or 130 or 150. Ideally, I would love for it to be like 150. And I think that bumps it up where it's just a few more products, but it increases your opening order by, from, let's say, average is 100, 120 to 150. And it's not that far from what they're already doing.
Yes.
So how would that feel for you? Would you feel comfortable doing that?
Um, it's open. I'm open to testing. I don't think it will. It's not a massive hike, so it's just a little bit of a hike, and then I think it won't impact. And I can also see maybe I'll get also. This may also increases the how I say not increases, but better like retailers to come through because what happens
Correct. Exactly.
because
That's the other part of it.
what happens with the low value, either they are testing and they're really low budget shops and they're just, some of them could be just because what unfortunately Fair does, they don't have a huge, how I say, onboarding process. So they can onboard anybody with like an Instagram shop, TikTok shop or whatever it is, so that it doesn't have the box retailers. So sometimes what happens is that you do get like small orders here and there, which is like why are you even buying these? Because
Absolutely.
you know. So
And it's
that will also eliminate them, because I do get a little bit angry sometimes. Like, why is she ordering? She just orders like a testers, that's like.
Well, that's the thing. Like, 100% agree with you. Like, it's filtering out, raising the minimum PO starting open order raises the standard of retailer that you're bringing in. We also have to think about like the time you put into these orders, the shipping, the production, like all the elements that are making, the effort that you're putting in to put these orders out and send these orders out. We want to have wholesalers that are reordering with us every single month or every other month. And we want every single wholesaler to be that way. So it's great that you're testing out these different wholesalers, right? But at this point, I think we need to start to optimize. And one of the things that I made a mistake personally with my brand was that when I was starting out and I remember like talking to someone about this, like a mentor about this, and they had said, you really have to be very selective with the retailers that you choose to go into because that sets the bar and that's the standard. And I remember, being so early on and I don't think I was as clear as I could have been at the time when I was very early in my business on my target customer. And so now that you've done this work on your target customer, we've done it together, right, over the last few months, I think you can be much more selective of who is a good fit, who is a not good fit. Because once you start going to retailers that are not a good fit, it dilutes your brand from the onset. So it's harder to like climb out of that. Now that I think we can set the bar higher for opening orders to be 150. We can test that. We can see how that goes. If that goes well, then we can increase it more. Ideally, I'd like to see it at least a minimum of 300. One way too that you can, that brands have a certain pack out, right? Or like certain number of products that fit into their standard boxes. So that's a way of saying like to a retailer, we can't break up the boxes. This is how they ship. So that's another way, another strategy for requiring a certain minimum of a product. So maybe going from 10 products to say 15 of a SKU, or maybe it's going up to 30, but you can do a mix. But in general, I would say opening order, let's bump it up to 150 and start to make our way up. Part of that will be, I think, looking at the pricing too. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. I think what another strategy I want to do, obviously this is wholesale, but I am eventually, for example, I'm working on the new products and everything, and the brand is always changing and improving the brand. But I think on the pricing side, I think I'm going to increase the prices of the products themselves on the retail higher. So, when I sell them on retail, so for example, as I mentioned, I sell one of my serums for 20, so you sell them for $10, or sometimes like I want to increase that to maybe like 30, or maybe more. Not like, because I'm not super luxury brand, but I think with the quality of the ingredients and everything, I can push the price a little bit, and that was also impacts my wholesale baseline because
100%.
yeah,
I think that will be the
so
first. Did you do the COGS calculator, by the way? Have you put your products into the COGS calculator that we have?
I did, but I think I don't remember exact margin, but I did it a long time ago, but I have to do it again, I think.
Do it again, because it should be to 5 times your cost of goods sold. The calculator is much more specific, but in general, rule of thumb, like 4 to 5 times. So, anyways, one of the things that I was thinking of with the wholesale, with if let's say our goal is like 100, let's say our goal is 100,000 this year just with wholesale, right?
Sure.
There's three factors that are in play here that can be moved in order to reach that 100K, right? So number one is the opening order or the purchase order, right? So increasing the opening order, increasing the reorder minimum. So what is that average order? So right now you're doing 100. Let's just say for simplicity's sake, 100. We want to bump it up to 150. There's also the frequency of orders. So right now, if you wanted to, I'm going to do the math live, so bear with me. But if you wanted to reach 100K at 100 average order and at a frequency of, you said every 6, let's just say most of them are actually only ordering once, but let's say you're doing it 6 times a year. You mentioned like every 8 weeks. So I'm actually going to do the math right now. So 100, it would be 100,000 divided by 100 times 6. So let me just do that real quick. So it'll be 100,000 divided by 600. You would need to have 167 retailers
167 retailers
that are reordering every 8 weeks at $100.
Okay, it's
Does that make
it's a challenge. Yeah, it's a challenge. What?
Well,
Yeah.
So here's how we make it better. And I did this with another founder who's a graduate of C2C. She's now a graduate of our mastermind. And we did the same process where she was getting in like all these retailers, but some of them were sticking, some of them were not. Some were rebuying, some were not. We've gotten it down to a select few. So before it was like 50, but only like 10 were reordering. We got it down to now it's actually 51 doors that are now reordering all of them are reordering every other month. So she was easily able to scale with just those doors to over 6 figures just with wholesale. That's not even the e-com side.
But then did she have like implement a different strategy then?
Well, that's what we're going to get to, right? So it's exactly what we're talking about. It's increasing frequency.
Yeah.
It's all with the numbers, right? Like either we increase frequency, we increase the average order value, or we increase both, right? So if we were to, let's say we were to increase the average order value just to that's 150. Let's just start with 150, right? So 150 at the frequency that you currently have, which is 6 times a year. Now we're dividing 100,000 divided by 900. Now that drops our retailer requirement to 111. Different, right? We went from 167, right, to 111.
Okay.
Really where you should be
increasing the average value order, yeah.
Just increasing the average order value by $50.
$50, yeah. Okay.
Just by doing that. Now, if we get it to where it should be, which is 300 minimum, that would have it. So that would put it in by half. So 111 divided by 2 is 55.5. So 56 doors.
Okay.
Do you see like just making those small tweaks will make a huge difference?
Yes. So the average, just by adjusting the average value order to 150, we're reducing the amount of like retailers required to make every 6 to 8 weeks. So
exactly.
That's yeah. My only concern is that like I know we're not bumping up much, but this is sort of like it's also this may impact a little bit some of the cut like.
Yeah.
Reorders are not a problem. Obviously, that's what we are just discussed. But sometimes this would also eliminate those. I don't want to say pesky, but like those kind of like hesitant retailers, small retailers that are like afraid of like ordering big amounts. So they don't want to even order like let's say $100 of value. They just want to have like testers of like I don't for 30, 40, $50, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So maybe because that's also my time. No, I don't want to say wasted, but it's also like,
It is. But also, like, the reorder rate is very low right now. It's actually 17%. So 15 out of the 85 we calculated are actually reordering the last 3 months, which puts us at 17%, which is very low. We want it to be 100%. So we want it to be that we are so curated, so selective, so good at partnering with the right retailers that our reorder rate is at 100%, not 17%. Now we have partners, not just random doors ordering from us, but partners, like real retail partners that want to stick with us for the long run. So that's the direction I'd love to move in. So like that, like starting with like I said, increasing that opening order value. And then ideally, like I said, it should be at least 300, which would bring us down to about 56 stores if you want to hit six figures. But here's the other thing. We could also look at what would it look like if we increase the frequency of orders. Like let's say they're reordering. Let's say we bump it up to, 150. So we bump it up to 150 and we increase the frequency of reorders to every month. So that would be 150 times 12. So it's 1,800. So 100,000 divided by, 100,000 divided by 1,800 is 55.5 doors. So it's 56 doors. So if we keep the opening order at that very little increase to 150, and we just increase the frequency to reorders every month, then you just need 56 stores. So it's playing with now it's okay, the increasing the average order requirement, that's an easy fix. The frequency is a harder fix because it means that you have to do a lot more
marketing to them. Yeah, follow-ups and everything.
Exactly. Sell-through. And sell-through is another step up. So that's when we start getting into like gratis, right? So sampling to all the sales staff, sending one pagers. Are you sending anything like any marketing materials to the wholesalers?
Yeah. So what I'd send normally is like a promotional product, like something as a small sample, relevant to, for example, whatever they're buying it. Let's say if they just buy lip balms or lip masks only, so suddenly I get 20 of the lip masks, but they don't order anything else. I put like a taster of like a scrub, a mini serum, something like that, so that they can get it, and also like a small about me flyer.
Okay, so let's update that. I'm going to share with you the one pager, which it's in the wholesale module, but I just want to I want to share that with you. The one pager is typically what you would send. There's so many different things we could do here. But the one pager with like QR code or even like postcards or shelf talker with QR codes that goes directly to more information about the product will help in terms of sell through for the sales staff. But also the other big thing is, and this is like best practice, is that every single salesperson is getting gratis. So that means gratis is another word for free samples, but not like sample size, like full size products. So they're getting each salesperson is getting full size products, and you're training them on those products. So you're getting, maybe you're doing a call. Let's say you're setting up a call with that retailer. And this is the strategy that will allow you to scale with less retailers. So you're setting up a call with that, with the buyer, and you're asking them for, 15 to 20 minute training. Ideally, of course, it would be in store, but if you can't do in store, then it would be, virtually. And you're sending them, something in advance. Obviously, definitely sending full-size products to each of the salespeople in advance, but maybe also treats, like maybe some local baked goods or, some local lunch. You're sending them, lunch or something. It doesn't have to be huge. It could be something small, just a way to get them to pay attention, to get them excited. But that's like the next step, right? So like first step is like we need to set better opening orders, reorder minimums. We need to have a spreadsheet where we're tracking every single retailer and having a process for follow-up. Next step is now we need to go really deep with the retailers that are working.
Yeah. For example, I have some beauty therapy shops, and I had like a big spa shop. They ordered to me because they ordered a few times the repeat orders. I follow them on Instagram as well. They loved the, for example, the lip mask. They ordered it again and again. I know. So the thing is, like, obviously they tested themselves. I don't know how but they do, for example, give me a feedback saying that like you got a lot for the product, or there's a high value item for them because you get a lot of the product for the price. They like the packaging. They like the I've used an applicator, for example, within the thing, so they get a little spatula for your lips and everything. They love it, and then they they said that it's kind of first they said it's flying off the shelf, but they didn't follow it up. So maybe I'll check with them. For example, they haven't ordered again. So yeah, they did say like their customers loved it, but I didn't. They ordered another 20 not long ago. I think around January they ordered, but they haven't ordered since January, for example, which I kind of wonder what's going on. So I'll follow up with them. Yeah. I think also, yeah, I also like the beauty shops that come to me, so I think I feel better with them rather than just like random restaurants ordering.
Of course. Yeah. So that retailer that you were just talking about, the beauty shop, is it physically close to you? Like, how far is it from you?
I don't know. I haven't checked it. They're not too far away, but they're not close. They're not that short distance to me either. I need to double check where they are. But I can go and do like a demonstration with them. This is another thing, Aggie, is like because I'm a man, sometimes I feel a bit shy because like I have a beard and everything. So I'm gonna go like, I feel a bit shy just to go there and like do a product demonstration, I
No,
feel like,
that makes sense. I mean, you might need to get like a partner, like if you want to get like a female partner that comes with you to do the demos. Or like I said, you could do more of you can take the gratis angle. So the sampling
Yeah,
angle
yeah.
where you're
Sampling
doing,
angle.
you're training them, whether it be in person or virtually, you're training them and you're sending a lot of samples
Yes.
continuously. Every month you're sending samples, or like every quarter. Start with every quarter and then bump it up. Because what happens with the sampling is that once they have too many samples, these salespeople, they start to give those samples to their friends and family. So now you're infiltrating a location with your products, right? So not only are the salespeople selling to the customers coming in, they're also giving away the samples to their friends and family locally. So it's like double duty. Does that make sense?
So like I know there's a very one. I was really surprised. This is spa. This is a very expensive spa ordered. I was like, oh my god, what's this place?
Right.
So they were really expensive.
You have to keep it.
Yeah, so that they're like their treatments, like overnight if you stay for there, it's like $1,000 if you stay overnight. That expensive place. So they ordered like again the lip mask and then some of the serums. But now that you're saying, but they ordered once again, but I think they ordered in November. They ordered in December again, but I haven't heard from them again. I may now that you said to me, but now this goes back. This is getting deeper, right? So now, like I have to see, like for example, they didn't buy the hyaluronic serum. They only bought like a vitamin C serum, some lip mask. So now I'm thinking like, okay, let me send them like a hyaluronic serum and this. But I also feel like I need to extend my product range, right? So for example, that's how I feel because are you saying I should send them like 20 hyaluronic iron sample, like 20 of them or 10 of them or something? Is that what you're saying basically? So whatever they didn't buy.
So whatever they ordered, like let's say they ordered the lip mask, the hyaluronic acid, and one other product. Again, it depends on your budget, so I don't want to force anything on you. But ideal scenario, you would be sending them each salesperson on that team in that store the full size products of all three of those. So they are trying them and using them at home. They're going to be able to sell that product better, right, to the end user. If you cannot afford that, which I understand that might be a big leap to be able to do that and do that regularly, every quarter,
Sure.
then you would sell your bestseller, right? The mask, the lip mask. That sells well. People repeat buy. That's a hero product. Start that there and give them that full size, each salesperson, train them on it. So set up a training with the buyer to do it virtually or in person with their sales team, and then keep
Yes.
sending that product every quarter or every month so that they then they can't
Anything else almost.
and they start to give it to other people. It's the cheapest thing you can do, for the cost of your product, really, and shipping. It's the cheapest way you can start to get the product in the hands of people that are already they have it in the store, they're selling it. Like, give them so much product that they're now selling it to their friends. It's the cheapest and
Oh,
fastest
I
way.
see.
You see
So,
that?
okay. So, for example, like what, as you said, let's just use the lip mask example again. So, if they just keep, like, I know they keep buying the lip mask, right? So they reordering it, but they haven't reordered. So we're saying that not I should, but like, I'll give them, I don't know how many salespeople they have, but let's
You find
say
out.
I send
I
them,
know.
yeah, or maybe I just send them suddenly, like, here's a gift or something, or here's a 5 of these lip masks, give it to your customers or train your customers, something like
No,
that. Is that what you,
salespeople. No,
to
the salespeople.
salespeople?
But this is standard practice for any wholesaler. Standard practice is gratis. It's called, right. So we're just doing it on a smaller scale, right? Typically, gratis in a typical, with big brands, what they do is they're giving gratis every month or every other week, to their sales staff. What I'm saying is, like, you would be giving gratis, but give them gratis over and over and over again, so they then will give the extra products to their. So it's like, it's kind of like when I was an editor, I would get so many products every single day. I still, even now, like, I get a lot of products. I don't have enough face and body to use the products, right? So I'm giving those products to other people. And
Other
now, like,
people, yeah.
my nanny, I got a product in the mail that was specifically for acne, and I've gotten many products for acne. I've never had, I don't struggle with acne right now, knock on wood. But my nanny, she does. She's vocally expressed about her struggles with acne. And so whenever I get acne products, I always, I ask her if she would like them. She always says yes. And so now she's found a brand that I happen to get multiple products of that I can't use. Now she's using that brand. Now she's buying that brand.
Okay, I got you. I got you. So, yeah, it makes sense. So in this case, then in this case, for this people, are you saying that I'll call them up or tell them like how many salespeople you have?
Yeah, like, tell me about your sales team. I would love to do a training with them. I would love to either come in or set something up virtually, maybe a little mini breakfast, mini lunch virtually, 15 minutes tops. I'd love to teach them on our best selling product, the lip mask. How many salespeople do you have? I would love to send them product in advance so that they can feel it and touch it while we do this mini training.
Okay, well, I don't think, okay, right. I mean, all right. I mean, the mini trainings, I will try to do the mini trainings, but at least for now, only thing I can do right now as an action is just send them a message. Hi, how is it going? Or something, just to follow up with them if they need anything. And I can send them like full size product samples if for all the sales. Even though right now I might not just go straight away, like I'll need a training with you, but at least to open the conversation with them. Yeah.
Absolutely. You can start with, like you said, you can start with just checking in, wanting to see how things are going and selling the best so far. What's been the feedback? And also, I would love to send some gratis, or I would love to send some samples to your sales team. Would you mind letting me know how many people are on your team?
Okay. All right. I will try that.
Yeah. And then start there and we can work our way up to the trainings.
Okay, no problem. That sounds good. No, I actually like that. Yes, because I haven't like been very proactive with following up, but but yeah, that's something I can implement definitely.
This will change the game. Like this alone, just these few things like opening order increases, follow-ups, I would be tracking, and we have a tracker, by the way, a wholesale tracker. Every single door should be tracked, and every follow-up, every date that you're following up should be tracked in that tracker. Now we're getting much more curated, much more, we're raising our standards, we're raising the bar. We're working with partners, retail partners, not just order. Totally different strategy.
Okay, yeah.
How does that feel? Does that land for you? Does it feel like it's a good plan, or do you feel like you have resistance?
No, I don't have a resistance. I just that I need to feel like I need to be more organized. I don't feel the resistance. I just, that's need to organize them. And then, so the first thing I'm going to do, look at the messages I sent, who haven't I sent messages, all these reorders, and then just give them a nudge. Another thing is, unfortunately, fair.com doesn't give you the customer's email. So you only have their mobile numbers, which means I can call them straight away.
Yeah, you can call
I
them.
just call them.
Look up the number. Look up the number. It should show. The store should show up.
No, you can see if they have an email, if they got an Instagram, whatever they put, but you can see their mobile number. You can't see their emails. That's it. So because they have an inbuilt email system which they want you to actively promote it using email campaigns and everything. So which is fair enough.
You can easily do some digging. 5 minutes of like, Google stock the Instagram, the numbers, and you can find out. You can figure that.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. I'm excited now.
Very excited about this. And I would start with like your top 10 doors, right? Like start there. It's like go do, follow up, do the process we discussed with the top 10 doors, but put all of the doors, but for this week at least, start with those top 10 doors. And then, we can keep going, down, looking at which ones we want to work with, which ones we want to follow up with. Maybe there's some that you look at as they're not a great fit for your target customer or for your brand, but at least, we have a starting point. Any questions from here? And I definitely want to talk about pricing, but we'll do that a separate time. Any questions?
Sure. No, that's fine because I was just not sure, like, because the only thing I would send to them, yes, I will send them like samples and materials, but like I didn't know, for example, that you need to send them like a whole gratis about it. So sometimes I do it. Sometimes I'm just not consistent with it. Sometimes I send this whoever, like I look at their orders, what they bought, and then if they bought really good stuff, like for me, I feel like there's a value for me to add a full size sample. But not every order I add that. But like if I feel like I like the customer, it's a good customer, they order something nice, I feel like I can add them a couple of other little bits, like full sizes as well.
It's
But
part of the
some of
relationship.
them doesn't. Yeah, but some of them doesn't really worth it. Like I don't, I'm a little bit judgmental
Exactly.
on that.
Exactly. And that's a good way to understand too, like which retailers should we be focusing on? Which ones should we not be focusing on? Also, there's this thinking too, like one of the things that we've implemented with my wholesale heavy brands is like promotional strategies at different times in the year that incentivizes a higher order value, but they get free testers or they get free shipping or they get, some kind of bonus, throughout the year, maybe, a couple times a year to really incentivize, more wholesale orders. But that's definitely something let's start here. I think this isn't enough.
Even like starter, I think it's okay. I don't feel like I want to get overwhelmed. But even if you just start messaging them right now, like just to follow, at least to ones that follow up and then message them, how's it going? We got this and
Absolutely.
that. So, and then they say like what the responses are, and then I'll just need to build up the Excel you talk about, like Excel tracker. But I need to do that too. So they have
Yeah.
three
Use
actions
the
for me.
wholesale tracker we have, the one in C2C. Just use that, use that. You can make it your own if you like, but it's pretty, I mean, it's my wholesale tracker. and it's the one that we've always used, and you can always make it your own, but at least you have a starting. All right, Tuna, this was great. I'm glad we did this. And I'm very excited about like your like just get optimizing your wholesale strategy and getting much more, refined with it. What would you say was your biggest takeaway before we hop off?
The biggest takeaway is I think the importance of like customer relationship. I think that's even with the retail customers, normal customers. I think it's good to either with the email marketing, and it depends on like I think keeping up with the customers' importance and then curating your customers. I think it's really important. That's my main takeaway.
Love it. Awesome. Well, I'll see you. I'll see you inside C2C, and then have a beautiful week.
You too. Thank you so much, Aggie. Thanks for this opportunity. Lovely meeting with you. Have a great day too.
Everybody, thanks for listening. And I'll see you on the next episode of the Beauty and the Brand podcast.